Hey everybody, we're closed. We've been closed for several hours, yet I'm working on a MacBook. That's because after a series of annoying financial issues, my air conditioner decided to die on what's likely the hottest day of the year. Yay! So I got myself a new one. It was about $750, a few $100 to get it put up there. I spent my day redoing the seal on the window and putting some of that silicone caulking stuff around the AC, getting the nice weather stripping and everything. And now it's not boiling. One of the things that was interesting is it was actually like slowly boiling a frog in the store. Because I didn't realize it was like 69 degrees, then 72, then 74, then 78, then 80, then 88. And at some point I just put my hand up and I realized that the air conditioner is shooting out warm air on one of the hottest days of the year. But now that that's all fixed, I can actually fix some MacBooks. And I'd like to fix some MacBooks so that I could pay for that bullshit expense of a new air conditioner. And alright, so today what we're looking at is another MacBook. This is an 820-3115 board. This is a relic. This is a relic right here. But we're going to make sure this thing works. We're going to fix it. And it's going to fan spin. And it's going to be great. So the first thing we're going to do over here is we're going to turn on our power supply software. The power supply software that I got from Circuit Specialists will allow the CSI 3005P power supply to pop up on the screen and tell you exactly how many amps the MacBook is using. And now we're going to turn on Paul Daniels' awful software as well. Well, you'll be able to see what I get on the multimeter. So we're going to plug this thing in. Let's see how many amps we're using. It looks like we're using... we have to start the software, obviously. Looks like we're using 40 milliamps. 36 to 40 milliamps. Now, that is no good, so we're going to check some of the basic rails on this machine and see what's up. So let's just open up a schematic and a board view. And on the schematic and the board view, we're going to be able to see the rails on a nice little list. So we click like this, and we have a list. So let's see, we've got our PP bus over here. You always want to check your PP bus. Make sure it's G3 hot. It's supposed to be 12.56 volts. And we get 12.56 volts. PPVRTC G3 hot. Let's see what's going on over there. PPVRTC. Bam. That's going to be U. 3.3. It's present. Next up on the list is going to be PP5ES5. We're going to check our PP5ES5 and see what's present. PP5ES5 is present. Next up, PP5ES3. We check PP5ES3, and let's take a look over here and see what we get. Now, we click on C6603. We're going to check that on the board. We're going to see what we get at that point. It looks like we're getting 0 volts. Wow, how much is 0? Now, let's see if it's shorted to ground. We're going to unplug the charger because you never want to have the charger plugged in when you're doing this. And when you're taking any sort of resistance measurements, and we're going to put one probe to ground, the other probe here, and it looks like, interesting, 13 ohms, 26 ohms, 31 ohms, 46 ohms, 102 ohms, 134 ohms, 247 ohms. Interesting. No short circuit. Next up, let's plug this thing in. Now, one of the things you may notice is it doesn't have a green light in the charger. Let's try a different charger.
Have a good weekend.
Have a good weekend, Paul. Interesting. Another charger and the same thing. We're going to take another DC in board. Let's see if it works with a different DC in board. Let's pray that we have another DC in board. And oh look, all the DC in boards we have for this machine look like complete and utter shit. Yay! It worked out decently, Q's Tech. The problem is, the problem that I'm having right now is that I got doored and one of those the screws that was holding it in fell out. So I got to go to the 24-hour hardware store, but I forgot the size of the screw in the nut that I got, so I got to take it off to figure that out and do that before I go home. But first, we got to fix the board. So let's see. Another DC in board and the same thing. No green light. What's going on with you, little MacBook? So DC in board is not the cause. We're just going to put that DC in board back so it doesn't get lost in the rubble here. Now, we are getting 12.56 volts on PP Bus G3 Hot, which means our SMC is on. Yeah, thank you. See you later, Paul. Thanks for everything. So it looks like this SMC has been reflowed before. Also looks like we have a little corroded probe point under that SMC. You know what? Next board. I think this is a great time for the next board. Yep. After a long boiling day of... That's not going to be what I spend my time on. Next board. I'm pretty sure that's going to probably need an SMC. Which means reballing one. No, thank you. Also, yeah, I'm not feeling this. Not feeling this. This board goes in the queue for Paul. This looks like this SMC has been reflowed. Yep, this is junk. Bye-bye. Blat. Suka Blat. I should really stop looking at this board now. You know the SMC is on because we're getting this. 12.57. Should we give that SMC another good old reflow? What the hell? For old time's sake, let's give that SMC one last reflow. There was a hair on my thing, but that's fine. It's probably got there from one of the other MacBooks. That hair came from a MacBook, and to a MacBook it will return. This is not my weekend, and today is not my day. I didn't hear about that Q's tech service. Tell me more. What is he talking about? Let's see. 9 to 5 Mac. Nine to 5 Mac. Q's tech service says, did you hear the news, Lewis? They are going to stop the leaks of schematics from Apple now. The cab files, it was on 9 to 5 Mac News, possibly no more schematics falling off trucks. Let's see. Report. Apple reduces the number of factory secrecy staff, cracking down on CAD schematics leaks. An article from The Information Today covers a breakdown of the lengths that factory workers have gone to get parts of unreleased iPhones into the black market and Apple's countermeasures to tackle the issue and maintain high levels of product secrecy. Most interestingly, the report says that Apple is actually reducing the number of staff it has assigned to catching leaks of factory parts and is instead focusing on cracking down on the leaking of CAD drawings and schematics, just like the schematics we've seen this year showing the iPhone 11's design. Naturally, leaks of unreleased iPhone hardware can be sold on the black market for many times the floor worker's standard salary. What? Apple has steadily ramped up efforts to prevent... maybe... this is one of those things where it's... maybe if the floor worker wasn't paid like shit, there'd be some loyalty there. Like, if I have proprietary information that's really important to me, and I have an employee accessing it, one of the things that I try to do is make sure that employee is compensated to a point where it's actually not worth it for him to just try and take that one-off, getting himself a lick and selling the data to somebody else or the supplier list or something like that, because the job doesn't suck. That's one of the first things that I would consider here. It says the information's report describes a whole manner of ways the factory employees have smuggled enclosures or parts out of an iPhone factory. One particularly bad case was in the iPhone 5C era, when a worker commandeered a truck full of thousands of colorful iPhone 5C cases out of the gates. Okay, that's kind of messed up. In other cases, the report says that factory workers have tried to dig tunnels as a way to secretly get iPhone parts out. Wow, Shawshank Redemptioning it. Apple enforces strict security measures on its contractors' factories, including the addition of metal detectors for not just employees coming and leaving work, but also trash. Trash! As part of the supplier agreement, factories must let Apple security members inspect the plants at any time. Factories are fined in the range of tens of millions of dollars if leaks happen. However, the report says that leaks from Foxconn is not subject to fines. The scale of the iPhone assembler allowed it to negotiate better terms, aka we're making all your shit for pennies. I dare you to fine us and build your own phone. I dare you to fine us, is what Foxconn's saying there. In the Outlines report from 2017, an Apple executive was quoted as saying that more leaks now come from inside Apple's headquarters in Cupertino, California, than from the supply chain. It seems Apple has successfully reduced the amount of leaks coming from supply chain in terms of physical hardware, but is struggling to prevent the CAD files from being photographed or distributed. As security measures around factory components have improved, it can now reduce the size of the team called the New Product Security Team. The information says Apple has lowered the NPS headcount and outsourced some initiatives. However, it is dedicating additional resources to try and curtail schematics leaks, written by Benjamin Mayo. And he's linking to an article from The Information. I'm kind of curious about that. I prefer to go to the primary source whenever possible. So let's see what they're going on about here. And it looks like I need a subscription, so we are going to log in and check this out later. You know what? Nah, screw it. I'll do it now. I will subscribe. Let's see. As long as you don't make it painful to register. Alright, so just don't make it painful to register and we'll get the rest of the story. Please don't make it painful to register. $39 a month? You fucking... Okay, this better be a good fucking article. But I don't want to be billed monthly, though. I want to view this one fucking article. Alright. Fine. Fine. I will get this article. We're going to read it. That's worth it. Maybe some good information. Shit, journalism, I could always file a chargeback. Alright, so let me get the card that has easy chargebacks in case this article sucks. Let's see. Or in case they don't let me cancel my subscription. I'll do it. You guys are worth it. 4 and 4. 2, 5. Okay. At the very least, just let me pay for 1 month. Don't fucking auto-subscribe me, assholes. Okay. What do we... Okay, so I paid. We came. We paid. He died. Alright, let's read the story. Inside Apple factory thefts, secret tunnels, hidden crawl spaces. 6 years ago, a warehouse employee at one of Apple's top suppliers, Jabil, stole thousands of iPhone 5C casings from a factory in China before the product was announced. The employee, with help from a security guard, falsified documents and avoided security cameras as he drove a truck filled with the candy-colored shells out of the gates, according to 3 people familiar with the matter. The incident, which hasn't been previously reported, was one of the most devastating leaks to come out of Apple's supply chain, the people said. Images of the iPhone 5C in suit appeared on the internet, spoiling the reveal at the company's carefully choreographed media event that September. Jabil didn't respond to a request for comment. The audacious theft. I went to a New York City public school. Don't judge me. The audacious theft was a wake-up call for Apple. In the years following, Apple created the new product security team, known as NPS, in China to monitor security at its most sensitive suppliers. The team ultimately put a stop to most device leaks and discovered some... Man, I really can't read. Am I this fucking illiterate? Let's see.
Audacious.
God damn it, I was right the first time. Audacious. Fuck. And discovered some audacious attempts. Such as some factory workers who tried to build a tunnel to transport components to the outside without security spotting them. I'm sorry, when people are going through... even if it's something I'm not exactly a fan of, when you're straight up Shawshank Redemptioning it, I gotta hand it to you. Let's see. Last year, Apple began to trim the team and is now moving some of the work to contractors, according to people familiar with the team. We were in wartime before, but now we're in peacetime, said one former team member. In recent years, a new security threat has emerged, electronic leaks. Most leaks of the next iPhone, for example, have been in the form of schematics, which have revealed it will have 3 rear-mounted cameras, but little else in terms of design changes. Apple has shifted more resources to stopping these electronic leaks, 2 people familiar with the matter say. Those efforts are mostly handled by a separate group managed out of Apple's headquarters in Cupertino, California. How Apple stamped out physical leaks is a model that competitors such as Google, Samsung, and LG are now trying to replicate. Apple security guidelines, which are also aimed at preventing corporate espionage, have taken on greater significance given revelations about efforts by Chinese smartphone giant Huawei to steal technology from competitors, including Apple. Apple's NPS team was first described by the news website The Outline in 2017. The information spoke to 7 people familiar with Apple's supplier security practices and also reviewed an internal Apple document detailing security responsibilities for suppliers. Types of leaks. Apple security efforts are mainly concerned with halting the physical or electronic leaks of parts such as the glass, metal, and plastic casings that house the iPhone's components. Known as enclosures, leaks of these parts can reveal the dimensions and features of a product. Individuals who leak parts or images of parts do so for different reasons. People familiar with Apple's security policy say, some post photos of unreleased devices on social media to gain popularity. Wow, really? Like when I was a kid, getting the new GT bike made you popular. Now leaking a photo of the new iPhone. Like, not even look at the cool thing I have. It's, hey, look at the cool thing that I have a picture of. Wow. I'm starting to get old. I really am getting to that point where it's like, you know, when I was a kid, things were right. When I was a kid, kids used to brag about things that they got, not pictures of things that they don't own. Kids these days. Some others. Crap. Where's my alert? It went away. Wait, that's crazy. It went away that fast? What did you say? And why did it go away that fast? What the fuck? Son of a... Okay. Somebody left a read. If somebody in chat could read to me what that said, that would be awesome, because I missed that. I'm sorry. Some leakers sell unreleased parts to local businesses that either want to build counterfeit products or learn how to repair Apple devices. Employees can earn an amount equivalent to a year's salary for stealing iPhone enclosures depending on how early in the development process they are stolen, these people say. Some factory workers have hidden sensitive parts in crawl spaces and later return to retrieve them when security guards aren't looking. Employees have hidden parts and used mop water, tissue boxes, shoes, and under-discarded metal shavings. Oh my god. A factory worker was once caught hiding parts in his belt buckle, hoping security guards wouldn't pat down that area. So this actually ties in with something I've been telling all of you about for a while. So let me just show you what I've been talking about, because this is actually relevant. So... So, when I used to get donor boards, I used to be able to get boards that look like this, right? So these, you pay 12 to 20 bucks. I get a board. It's useless. It doesn't have any RAM on it. It doesn't have a CPU on it. It has a hole patched through it usually. These boards are, for the most part, totally useless, but they have chips like the SMC, the System Management Controller, that I cannot buy with programming from Apple for any amount of money because Apple. And one of the things that's useful is being able to buy these things just to have the spare parts that I'm not allowed to buy or that I don't have sources for. Now with the new machines, we've been going into this new bullshit where I don't get the full donor board. I get, like the breast or the thigh or the wing. It's like you have to choose. You can't just buy a donor board anymore. It's like, again, breast, thigh, wing, you get little pieces of it. I want the whole fucking board, but I can't get that. So this is what we get. And the thing that can occasionally be frustrating is when they cut them, sometimes there's a part that's left out. So all the chips in this area of the board, it'll be something like every chip that's like right along this section won't be there. And it's annoying because it's one thing that, it's one thing that's aggravating that where after 10 years in this business, showing that you are at the top of your field, having lines out the door of happy, satisfied customers that were happy to write positive things about your business, people that, that got data back that they otherwise wouldn't have machines working that they couldn't afford to get working at the Apple Store, that I have to dumpster dive and take my parts off of dead boards with holes in them that I get from China to get shit to work again. It's an entirely other point of degradation, just being degraded, that now I can't even buy I can't even buy scrap. I have to buy cut up pieces of scrap and try to piece them together to get the parts that I need, and that sucks. And I noticed that with the touch bar. So I have not been able to buy a single A1706, A1707, or A1708 donor board in one piece. They all come like this, and I only imagine it's because they're hiding this stuff up their ass or something to be able to sell it. A woman at Jabal once hid dozens of glass screens in her bra, but was caught by security guards after they noticed her unusual style of walking. Apple once caught factory workers digging a small tunnel in a corner of a room behind a large piece of machinery, hoping to use it to ferry stolen parts to the outside world. People were chipping away little by little at the wall, Shawshank Redemption style. I said it first, the person said. Wow. Scrapping companies, which help Apple suppliers destroy prototypes and defective parts, have also been a source of leaks. Apple once traced leaked enclosures to a major scrapping vendor, Singapore's Tessam. Apple removed the company from its approved list of vendors for a year, but was forced to restore it because its options were limited, a person familiar with the matter said. Tessam didn't reply to a request for comment. Apple supplier security policies require an Apple employee or an Apple-approved contractor to be physically present when scrap is destroyed. Leaks can also come from Apple's packaging and printing contractors. One worker snuck a smartphone into a printing factory in 2017 and was able to take photos of an instruction manual for the iPhone X before its release. Apple quickly revised its policies to begin auditing these types of contractors many more months in advance, one person familiar with the matter said. Many of Apple's stolen parts end up in China's largest electronics market, known as Huajiangbei. Huajiangbei. We'll just stick with that. In the technology hub of Shenzhen. Apple routinely sends undercover employees and contractors to hunt for, buy back, and trace stolen parts, according to people familiar with the matter. In one instance before the iPhone X was released, a business that teaches technicians how to repair Apple devices had access to leaked glass screens for the new phone and began holding classes on repairing the screens. Apple secretly enrolled a contractor in the class to trace the source of the leaks, the person said. A year after the iPhone 5C theft at Jabal, Apple's investigators discovered and purchased 180 iPhone 6 enclosures made available for sale on the black market before the device was released, returning them to Jabal's top security officer. Jabal caught the two employees responsible, a night shift supervisor and an engineer who manipulated an inventory tracking system to make the parts appear as if they were indefinitely in process of manufacturing, according to a person with direct knowledge of the matter. Apple struggled to prosecute the leakers, the person said. To make a strong criminal case, Apple must provide detailed descriptions of the parts to Chinese law enforcement, which the company is unwilling to do, people familiar with the matter say. In China, Apple is unable to prosecute thieves based on the intellectual property of the stolen parts, which means thieves pay penalties based on the street value only, two people familiar with the matter said. Often, Apple doesn't even involve local law enforcement as it doesn't want to draw attention to unreleased products, one of the people said. So this is very interesting. This is interesting. So Apple believes that the Chinese government, they don't trust the law enforcement to not leak the information in that country, so they decide that. And here's the point that I come back to time and time again is I understand and respect that Apple is. Here's the thing. It comes back to this video I did a few years ago where I say, if you're going to be the bitch, be the whole bitch, right? So you want to have this stuff assembled for pennies. You want to build up your $1 trillion empire with $200 or $300 billion in the bank. That's by doing business in China. That's cool, but China has different rules than you do when it comes to intellectual property. So you can't go to the law enforcement about it because you would have to submit stuff to them that you don't really want to do because you don't want to submit your intellectual property before it's out yet. Deal with it. I mean, this doesn't really get me much. This doesn't get much sympathy from me here. I'm not a fan of people stealing crap. Like, if you're stealing cases by the boatload, that's wrong. But I think there's differences between somebody leaking a schematic and somebody leaking thousands and thousands of screens. I also think it's different based on who's paying for it. So I'm kind of curious: is it Apple paying for the screen, and then or Apple's paying for the parts to it, then sending it to an assembler, or Apple just says, here's $1 million, make this many screens for us today. And regardless of what fuckery the factory does, Apple pays the same amount of money. So if that factory builds 1,000 of those screens, and or they build 1,100 and then 100 are stolen, whatever it is, that Apple paid this much money for 1,000 screens, they're getting that amount of screens for this much money. I think that's going to change it a little bit from my perspective. If you're paying a flat rate to the factory to get something out, that's different than if you say, here's all my materials, factory, assemble them for me, and then the materials that you put at the factory wind up leaving out the door. I'm not saying it's right to just run in and take stuff, but it is one of the things that comes up in my mind. Now, and the other thing that obviously comes up in my mind is, obviously, you really seem to be clamping down on intellectual property while at the same time doing business in a country that fundamentally has a culture of not respecting intellectual property, and then you complain about it with your $200 or $300 billion. Again, it's just, my heart, sympathy. Now, the next thing that I'm thinking about here is, well, where is the demand coming from? So when they say that that a year's salary can just be these employees can get paid a year's salary just because something gets leaked. Why? Now, if this is happening because these are parts that are being used for independent repair, it does make me wonder if that demand on the front end for that causes this incentive to steal shit or to dig tunnels would go away if Apple simply provided parts for repair. If this is happening on the leak end, or like the Boy Genius Report kind of leak end, where these websites will get vast amounts of traffic and vast amounts of ad revenue if they can post a leaked photo of the new iPhone, then I don't see how you're getting rid of that. I don't see how you're getting rid of that, because that demand is always going to be there for people to see what it is you released pre-release. Pre-release leaks there's always going to be a demand for. I don't think Apple can really control that. I do think that they can control if the demand for these leaks is because people want to learn how to repair the product, or they want to be able to buy the parts to repair the product. A big part of this, I'm guessing, has to do with people wanting to buy parts or wanting to buy chips or wanting to buy screens. And there's a large demand for that because Apple put so much effort in to make it impossible. Would people be hiding glass? I can't imagine, when they said a bunch of people were hiding glass screens in their chest. I mean, that's painful. I just can't imagine. I can't imagine stuffing 30 or 40 of those glass screens into my bra, especially in the iPhone 4 and 4S days when you had those little really sharp, those 3 C-shaped clips on each end. Like, ugh. Just never. That sounds painful. But would the demand to do that be there if you could only get $1 or $2 for each of those parts that you stole? Probably not. And if you made the parts available, then maybe there wouldn't be such a demand for them to be leaked. But anyway, let's continue reading. Before creating the new product security team, Apple operated a group of about 10 security assessors in China who visited suppliers once every few months to check their security. But the NPS team created after the Jabal theft operated differently. It recruited former U.S. military and intelligence people fluent in Chinese, many of whom had backgrounds in physical security, to be supplier security managers. It also employed an army of third-party auditors tasked with going to factories on a weekly basis. The team at one point topped more than 30 people and remains the largest of its kind when compared with Apple's competitors. Apple's supplier security managers assess more than 100 factories handling unreleased products. Suppliers receive scores weekly based on their physical and electronic security to determine whether they can continue working for Apple. If scores are too low, Apple withholds schematics and refuses to allow suppliers to begin mass production. Each year, Apple sends a confidential document to its suppliers outlining their security responsibilities. The document includes basic guidelines on physical and electronic access, but also drills down into an unprecedented level of detail for some measures, such as how to operate security checkpoints and track inventory. Occasionally, Apple's security policies have gotten pushback. Pregnant workers have complained about the use of metal detectors at facilities that make new products, only to be told they would have to change to less sensitive roles if they weren't willing to submit to screening. Apple security policies specifically say no exceptions can be made for pregnancy. So, pregnant women are the key to getting schematics. Note taken. Female employees at Apple's largest iPhone assembler, Foxconn Technology, have complained that they have to wear metal-free bras to get past metal detectors, according to one person familiar with the matter. Foxconn even opened shops outside its factory gates to sell special bras, the person said. So, I'm just going to take a wild guess that you ain't getting paid a lot of money at Foxconn. So they're going to have a metal detector that you can't go through if you're wearing a bra. So they're going to make you, while you're getting paid that probably half of what you get paid to work at McDonald's wage. Oh, by the way, if you want to work here, you have to buy your bra. Oh, man, that is adding insult to injury. You have to buy a special bra to go to work for Foxconn so that you can assemble a phone that probably your yearly salary would not pay for. I shouldn't laugh. This isn't funny, but it is. But it's not funny. The fact that it's not funny is what makes it funny. Actually funnier. Let's continue the document. To prevent theft, Foxconn once floated the idea of making employees wear skin-tight suits. Okay, Harvey Weinstein. Apple rejected the idea, deeming it too invasive, two people familiar with the matter said. Foxconn didn't respond to a request for comment. While Apple requires suppliers to provide its security managers with unfettered access to factories, occasionally they are met with resistance. Samsung, which made the display for the iPhone X, good evening, Kopaz, once refused entry to an Apple security manager out of concern the manager could steal its manufacturing techniques. A compromise was eventually reached where the security manager could walk through the factory but couldn't stop, a person familiar with the matter said. I like the fact that Foxconn is... Oh, it's Samsung who made this... Yeah, Samsung makes displays for the iPhone X. Once refused... Okay, not Foxconn. I get that. Yeah, like, you want to sue us every other week for something that we made that you say we infringed a patent on. You still want to use us for our NAND and our memory and our screens. That's fine. You want to inspect our facility? Here, keep it moving. I like that. I like the way Samsung and Foxconn are manhandling Apple here. That kind of brings a tear to my eye. Security responsibilities. Apple's security measures are constantly being refined as leakers adapt and try to circumvent its policies. Suppliers must now make sure containers storing parts are opaque, but that large trash bags are clear and screened from metal before they are removed from the premises. Storage containers must be sealed with tamper-evident stickers, which also require their own serial numbers. The components themselves must have unique serial numbers that can be traced back to specific factory lines. Inventory must be counted daily, and the quantity of scrap parts must be reported weekly. Apple requires suppliers to operate physically separate computer networks to handle the manufacturing of unreleased products. For computer-assisted drawings, or CADs, of unreleased products, Apple requires additional computer network walled off inside of the first network. Apple CAD files must be watermarked and include unique color patterns known as color bars to discourage employees from taking screenshots. Further, Apple doesn't allow the use of third-party services such as Google Enterprise and Dropbox, and it prohibits public email services such as Google, Yahoo, and Hotmail for communicating with Apple. Last year, Apple added a few more electronic controls. It now mandates computer networks hosting CAD files use two-factor authentication and run Windows 7 or later, which is more secure. Then what? It now mandates computer networks are running Windows 7 or later, which is more secure. Then what? What were you guys using before? Windows 98? More secure than what? Please tell me you weren't using Windows 98. I mean, please tell me you were, because it would be terrible if those schematics wound up continuing to get leaked so that people like me could have access to them. Because that would be morally wrong. Meanwhile, Apple suppliers are forbidden from referring to Apple by name or its project code names anywhere in the buildings. Suppliers must reimburse Apple for investigations. Oh, we're closed. We're so closed. The gate is down. The door is closed. The sun is falling. We are closed. Okay, he gets the idea. Suppliers must reimburse Apple for investigations and often must pay penalties when leaks are traced back to them. Oh, come on, suppliers. Grow a pair, please. Please grow a pair. Jabal, for example, is liable for $25 million in penalties if leaks occur, according to a person familiar with the matter. The supplier has spent millions of dollars to upgrade its security since the iPhone 5C theft, people familiar with the matter said. Jabal workers now use facial recognition cameras to enter factory lines. The supplier now operates an extensive network of security cameras that cover its facilities, spending about $600,000 per building. It also employs around 600 security guards, overseeing about 50,000 workers at factories in China. Foxconn was one of the largest sources of iPhone enclosure leaks as it employed hundreds of thousands of workers in Shenzhen, according to people familiar with the matter. However, it is one of a handful of Apple suppliers that can't be fined for leaks because of strong leverage against Apple, according to 3 people familiar with the matter. Foxconn is Apple's biggest supplier of the iPhone, providing everything from the production of small components to the final assembly of the devices. Apple leaks ebb and flow based on whether there are significant design changes from year to year. One person close to Apple suppliers said there haven't been as many leaks in recent years as the designs of the last few iPhones have been similar. AKA, there's not even a reason for us to leak new designs because they're just taking the last year's phone and pretty much re-releasing it with a different name anyway. Much innovation. Good job, Tim Cook. The motivation isn't there when there isn't a design change, the person said. And as you can see, there are no comments because, well, I'm the only member of this website since it costs $40 to read the article. Very interesting. Very interesting article. So, yeah, I guess some of the points here are, well, I can only imagine the effort that somebody went through to get me a CD3215 before I was able to buy them. People are digging little trenches out of the factory. They're taking their little rock hammer and doing this all day when the security guard is looking the other way, making deals probably to split the profits 50-50 with the security guard, just so that I can get a CD3215 so that when you spill liquid on your MacBook or when you use a knockoff charger, it can charge again without you giving the Apple Store $1,250. It's absolute insanity. But this is what we there's a lot of work that goes into all the stuff that we do. So, when people, like, when I say it's going to be 2 to 5 business days to fix something that's one of the newer products, and people go, and, the spoiled brat will go, fine. I don't think they have any idea what people are actually going through for us to get access to an ISL 9240, for us to be able to buy a CD3215. There's a lot of work and effort that goes into us being able to get a MUX chip so that when 52 volts goes to your CPU, that we can work on it. Needs more Oreo. Needs less Oreo. I don't know. Well, they turned up the heat. They did turn up the heat. But I have schematics for the A1990, A1989, and A1932, meaning that Apple, I'm going to be able to continue repairing your products from this very store, at the very least, for the next 3 to 4 years, because you don't change board design very often. I'm going to be sitting here doing exactly what it is that you don't want me to do for the next 3 to 4 years. So you keep spending money on these investigations. You keep spending millions and millions of dollars putting up facial recognition cameras, getting all these security guards, having audits done of the facility, hiring ex-military as your management. I still have schematics, and I will for the next several years. So suck it. That's it for today, and as always, I hope you learned something. Now back to this board. I reflowed the SMC. I still don't get a light. It's still taking 40 milliamps. Fuck it. This goes to Paul. This is dead. If it comes down to it, would you buy an Apple keyboard at $10 a pop from Somalian pirates, knowing they were probably acquired, not so legal means? I don't need to buy keyboards from a Somalian pirate. I buy my keyboard from a probably Chinese pirate. This is some Robin Hood shit right here. This really is some Robin Hood shit. I never saw him read Twitch chat. Yep. Alright. I paid $40 for that article. That's dumb. And I didn't even fix a board yet. Ah! Oh, that sucks. That's painful. I did not fix a board and I wasted $40 in the damn article. I didn't learn much anyway. Yeah, actually, I mean, it was a nicely written article, but I don't think I actually learned anything. All it said is, new security, blah, blah, blah. But, I mean, it said that they've been doing, there's been lots of security this entire time anyway, so I don't really know what I missed there. All right, so let's check out the next machine. Let's see what else is on the list. Next board pays for that article. Yeah, it was worth it. Actually, you know what I should do? Let's fucking unsubscribe. So, yeah, where do I unsubscribe? My settings. Is this in my settings? Upgrade your subscription? No. Of course you have upgrade my subscription. How about downgrade? How about cancel? Where's my cancel button? I gave you your $40 for your article. I'm done. What? You only have an upgrade button. Fucking shit. Here we go. Yes. Cancel my account is at the bottom in teeny tiny letters. Of course. No, no, no. I only wanted to see one article. I did not want a monthly subscription. Consider offering a rate for specific articles a la carte. Okay, what was I doing before that? With the matter requires on your MacBook or when using it. Jessa Jones is here. Jessa Jones blocked my phone number. Remember when we were friends? I threw Jessa and Jason Keebler under the bus the other day in a video. Jessa's on the side of hiding truth. History will not shine well on Jessa. Will not reflect well on Jessa. What's the plan for the Apple Store tank? You know what I'm thinking? The 1 million subscriber video is most likely going to be something along the lines of everybody donning a blue polo shirt and going to their local Apple Store and answering customers' questions honestly. So I did a video a while back where I was talking about a tradition. I mean, not a tradition, something I did a long time ago, where what I did was I would go to the Apple Store. Thank you very much, Andy. I'll put that towards the $40 I paid to read that article. What I did is I would go to the Apple Store, and I had a blue polo shirt. I forget if I got it from H&M or Uniqlo, one of those companies. And I had my little blue polo shirt, and I would answer people's questions if they looked frustrated or agitated or like they were waiting for a genius. So I'm thinking, one of the things I'm thinking about is when I hit 1 million subscribers that day, all the people that are, well-known repair people in their own right that know what they're talking about, put on a blue polo shirt and go to an Apple Store and tell customers the truth about their issues. Oh, but it's okay. So this is kind of fucked up. So I wanted to work on troubleshooting this, but the fucking charge port is not here. It's not in the slot. Okay. Well, so there's an employee that needs to get body slammed tomorrow, and I can't work on this one right now, unfortunately. Somebody's getting body slammed tomorrow. Okay, let's grab something else. Yeah, let's grab one of the new MacBook Airs. This will be interesting. An A1932 with no power. What do we have here? Breaking news, a small number of blue polo shirts. Yeah. When you hit 1 million, is it close now? iPad rehab. Let's take a look. So Blade. 861,000 subscribers. I gain about 200 a day. 100, 200. Yeah, so actually probably not. So let's see. Okay, so that's like 6,000 a month. So let's see. So the difference divided by 6,000. So we're going to make an equation here. In parentheses, 1 million minus 861-711 divided by 6,000. So it's going to be 23. It's going to be about 2 years for me to hit 1 million. Yeah, so by my lease is going to be over by the time I hit 1 million subscribers. You just have to grow the size of my entire channel and you'll be there. Yep, that's going to be a while. Those cats do poop a lot indeed. That's not the argument that you use, Jessa, in terms of sharing documents that are not public. Oh, that is not the argument when you used when we had that discussion. Okay. Let's go over this. So here we have an A. Oh, fuck. Recording didn't start. Piece of shit. So here we have an A1932 MacBook Air. This is the new model MacBook Air. It's going to be replacing the trusty old A1466 and A1369. Thank you for your videos. I recently had to fix my Lenovo Y5070 LCD screen, which was flickering and turning pink and green. Got the courage from watching your videos to open up my laptop and find that a tiny bug was bridging the connection point. That's awesome. Stop eating over your laptop. The only reason bugs are entering it is because you're getting food in it. Thank you very much for the $5, but I must still scold you for eating over your laptop. Don't get food in your laptop. Or drink. Your laptop is not hungry, nor is it thirsty. When are you going to talk about the case? I'm going back home tomorrow. I don't know. Jessa doesn't pick up the phone for me anymore. I can never call Jessa. It's almost like she's busy dealing with being a mother or something. Did you hear the dumb thing I did with ZXW? Ah, yes, that thing where you trusted that people are good. Listen, I don't like I told you soing because it's an asshole thing to do. And one of the things that I've noticed is that you can judge... You can really learn a lot about people based on how they react when they have the right to react a certain way. So, you know, if you give a customer back their phone and the screen is a little messed up and it takes you 10 minutes to replace it, do they go, oh yeah, sure, no worries, I understand? Or do they go, ah? They have the right to go, ah, ah. What do you do when you have that power in that moment? Do you use it to be a dick? And there's something to be learned there. You know, you learn a lot about people when you see how they use power in those small ways when they get to, when they actually have something over you. And you can learn about this in relationships as well. So, I mean, just for example with Erica, there are so many times where I've been dating somebody and there's a teeny tiniest little thing happens, like maybe I trip and I drop something that belongs to them or whatever that isn't even worth much, and they just act all sad for the rest of the time that we're together or something. She's riding on the back of my bike. I put a nice seat on the back of it. I wasn't used to having a seat on the back of it. What happens? The bike flips over. It just like, whoop! And we both get tossed off of it. She's laughing at the top of her lungs in the middle of the street. She has every right to say, fuck you, asshole boyfriend. But she didn't. Or there's this one case where I was in I was in one of my favorite restaurants, Mezzetto, and I remember while I was at Mezzetto, there was this couple there. And this woman, who is the bartender that night, manages to spill some clear vodka, like a small bit of clear vodka. It was, it was like either a shot glass, something like this, onto the guy. Giving me a free super chat, you're welcome. Thank you, Graham Varga. He spills this tiny little bit of vodka onto the guy's shirt. And the guy's wearing a dress shirt. It's a nice shirt, but it's a black shirt. It's a long sleeve black shirt. This is cleared vodka. It's not something that's going to leave a terrible stain or something. And she goes, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Here's my number. Just let me know. We can arrange to have the dry cleaning done. I'll even take the shirt, bring it to the dry cleaners, and then return it to you. I'm so sorry this happened. She gave the guy free drinks. She comped him a meal and everything. And he was going, and keep in mind, this is not like a gallon jug or something. This was this much vodka. And then about a few minutes later, she's saying, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. She's clearly like doing everything short of getting down and sucking this guy's dick to apologize and say, I'm sorry. And he goes, you know what, like, I don't mean to be a dick, but can I speak to a manager? This really ruined my evening. Like, what the fuck more does this person have to do? She fucked up. You have the right to be a little mad. She fucked up. You have the right to be mad. She spilled something on you at a high-priced bar and restaurant. But things are going to happen. Careless is going to happen. So how do you react to this little bit of non-staining alcohol being spilled on your black shirt that's not going to get a fucking stain on it? Again, it's not like a white shirt that you got tomato sauce on. It's a black shirt and vodka. Hey, I don't mean to be a dick, but can I tell? So I cut in, and I said, you know, you are being a dick. Like, you're saying you don't mean to be a dick while simultaneously taking action to get this woman fired who actually offered to do your dry cleaning, give you free dinner, and give you free drinks. I hope that person that's with you is your sister, because I can't imagine any woman on this earth that's not bound to you by blood actually choosing to fucking date you. And then the woman starts going and snickering under her breath, and I knew it was a date, because she wasn't dressed like that to go out with her brother. And the guy just like says, come on, and goes out. Because that's the thing. That guy could leave Mazzetto a 1-star Yelp review. You can't leave me a 1-star Yelp review. Actually, now he can if he's watching because I have a business. But he didn't know my business. And this is one of the things that I enjoy doing when I go to other businesses and I see people acting like complete and total cunts like that guy, being able to just say something about it. Because the employee can't. The employee has to worry about getting fired. The employee has to worry about the 1-star review. The owner has to worry about the 1-star review. I don't got to worry about the fucking 1-star review. You're being a dick. But the thing is, the point is, he had the right to be a dick. He had the right to be a dick. What did he do when he had the right to be a dick? Did he act graciously and go, hey, I understand. Things happen. Don't worry about it. It's a vodka spill on a black shirt. It's going to be invisible. And if you really want to pay for the dry cleaning, here, just don't worry about it. I'll get your number at the end of the evening. Thanks for offering to pay for dinner. Or did he say, I want to get you in trouble for your manager. I'm going to pretend that this ruined my evening just so that I can, twist the knife in a little deeper on somebody else to try to offset the pain in my own life. Fuck that. And you can tell people like that. You can tell people like that from shit as basic as how they react to an iPhone screen repair. Like when you walk in and say, you say it's going to be about 15 or 20 minutes. Your website says 10. I understand and I'm sorry. It's just I haven't eaten yet today. It's been really busy and one of the people called in sick. Now technically, your website says 10 minutes. It says 10 minutes. You told the customer 15 to 20. That's something different. They gotcha! But how do they deal with that gotcha? Things happen. Or let's talk about something while you're working on it. I'm just going to take a walk around the park. Or do they go, because once you hear that noise, when they look away instead of looking you in the eye as they're being an asshole, that's a person you don't want in your life. That person's a sad sack of shit. Run. Run. Another MacBook. Who the fuck keeps messaging me? Why does my phone keep vibrating? What? Why does my phone keep making a noise? It's Jessa. OMG, Jessa, you grandma, I'm streaming. Stop that. Okay, so what was a MacBook Air. Yes, this computer. Erica, I'm not giving you the satisfaction of releasing that video so that if things don't work out, you can fake a back injury and sue me. No. So rude, Ethereum. So rude. Yeah, I didn't keep that vid up. I should have kept that video, Teresa. Alright, so we're going to disconnect the audio board here. I believe this is the audio board. No, this is the battery, not the audio board. Yeah, that's the battery. Bye. Sign an agreement to release the video. Maybe. Jessa, that projection that you're seeing is based on me getting a wildly viral video between now and then, which is probably not going to happen. Because most of the things to be covered have been covered. Apple would have to do something really stupid over the next 4 months for that to happen. And as you and I both know, Apple very rarely does stupid things. They always take action that is in the best interest of their customer. Alright, so this already has a little bit of scary stuff by it. So it looks like somebody soldered a wire to the ground plane here because they were trying to find a short circuit. This is going to be kind of funky. You're going to suck, aren't you? Aren't you? Let's see, any little screws that I'm missing? I have the charger screwed in, but that shouldn't matter. Ah, of course, it's Apple. Screw hidden under flex cable. Asshole. Figlio de putana. Fuck. Come on, little board. Now you're plugged in this. Where are you going to? What else is? This is the new MacBook Air. This is an iPad. Look at this. This is pretty much an iPad for almost intents and purposes. So we've gotten this thing taken apart, and I'm going to take the machine and put it on the little shelf that I have right next to my bench. And we are going to see what it does with the USB-C amp meter before going forward. So I want to see how much current is this thing taking. Also, is it going up to 20 volts or not? So as can be seen here, it does go to 20 volts, and then it takes 80 milliamps. Now, now it's taking 200 milliamps. Now it's taking 300 milliamps. So this would actually indicate to me that it's turning on. 200 to 300 milliamps is probably what this thing needs to turn on. If this is a MacBook Air, it wouldn't be. The CPU heatsink is taken off, Copaz. Stop being a noob.
I've been accidentally elbowed in the face, and I didn't hold it against the person responsible for me having to see an oral surgeon. Not me. Now. Alright, so 160 milliamps. The CPU is getting mildly warm, so we're going to see if this produces an image already. If it already produces an image, then most likely it's something like a short-circuited audio board or something that is not really going to be interesting for me. Okay, let's just pretend that didn't happen. Actually, it didn't because it wasn't on camera. Wow, that's awesome. Okay, the board just flopped itself right out of the case and just unplugged the screen with it. Well, yep, not on camera. Not on camera. Alright, so it's taking 5 volts, 200 milliamps. Now it's taking 20 volts, 80 milliamps. Now it is going to taking... You can't see anything at this camera angle, but I can't change the camera angle, and I can't move the machine or else the board is going to come unplugged from the screen. Alright, 260 milliamps. So what are we doing here? Okay, we got an Apple logo, and this shit's turning on. So I have no idea what the fuck this is doing here, because this already works. Boring. I will leave it in somebody else's queue to diagnose. 20 volts at 160 milliamps is a very high wattage. Yeah, John, these machines are very surprisingly efficient, I gotta say. You know, again, booting up. This thing takes 4 watts to boot into the operating system. That's, you know, Apple did something interesting here. Because think about it, 20 volts, 200 milliamps. That's gonna be about 4 watts. When are the new microscopes coming? When the boat arrives. Don't ask me when the boat arrives. Also, I'm going to eat the rest of my dumplings with hot sauce. So it doesn't seem like I'm going to get a good repair video in today. So I'm going to convert this from a repair stream to a eating dumplings and reading your chat stream before I go to the 24/7 hardware store to work on my bike. Hot sauce. hot sauce. Now I'll put this over here. Less annoying noise. Yes, JP. I didn't know who sent that, but yeah, that's in the bathroom. The employees must stop crying. That actually went up on a day that I fired 2 people, so it wasn't exactly great timing. Or maybe great timing, depending on your sense of humor.
Q's tech service says, did you hear that? I still have schematic.
And I will for the next several years. So suck it. That's it for today. And as always, I hope you learned something. Some leakers sell unreleased local businesses that want to build counterfeit products or learn to repair Apple devices.
How's your bike doing? I got doored. I got owned by a car door. Oreo doesn't need toys, he needs a brain. Breaking news: a small number of polo shirts. How can I pet Blackberry? Dave can never pet Blackberry. Okay, it's pretty late. I have to go to the hardware store to get these bolts for my bike, and I'm kind of tired of fixing boards, honestly. So I'm going to go. I will see you all later. Thank you so much, and I'm sorry that I did not have a better video today. This was kind of boring. I realized that it was kind of boring, but I suppose I'm a boring person. See you in the next one. Thanks for watching.